Hey guys and gals, it's Miss Womack here, and today we're going to talk about identifying and diagramming direct and indirect objects. So let's get started. What is a direct object? Well, the direct object of a sentence is the noun or the pronoun that directly receives the action of the verb in the sentence. The direct object, or the DO, will always come only after an action verb, which we label as AV. So let's look at an example. Terry ate a plum. First, we're going to find the verb, which in this sentence is ate. Ate is an action verb, so we will label it AV. Next, we'll find the subject by asking the question, who or what ate? The answer here is Terry. Terry is a proper noun, so we will box it in red and label it S for its function, which is the subject. Next, to find the direct object, or the DO, we're going to ask ourselves, ate whom or what? The answer in this sentence is plum. Plum is a noun, and so we will box it in red and label its function as DO. So let's look at how to diagram a sentence with a direct object. Our example sentence is, Mom told a story. We're first going to find the parts of the sentence. We will start with the verb, which in this sentence is told. Told is an action verb, so we will label it AV. Next, we find the subject, who or what told, and the answer is Mom, which is a noun. So we're going to box Mom in red and label it S for the function. Again, the question to find the direct object is told whom or what. The answer in the sentence is story. Story is a noun. So again, we will box it in red and label it DO. Our second step is to add parts to the diagram. Well, as we have done before, we're going to start our diagram with a horizontal line that represents the main part of the sentence. Then we're going to throw in a vertical line to show the division between the subject and the predicate. Now, to diagram the direct object, because it's directly receiving action from the verb, in the diagram, the DO is going to be located directly behind the verb. So we're going to put a vertical line directly behind the action verb, but not all the way through the horizontal line because we're only dividing the predicate side of the sentence. Then all we do is fill in the blanks. Our verb is told, our subject is Mom, and our direct object is story. Now let's move on to identifying indirect objects. So what is an indirect object? Well, the indirect object of a sentence is the noun or the pronoun that indirectly receives the action of the verb in the sentence. The indirect object, or IO, will come only after an action verb, but it will come before the direct object. So let's look at an example. Rob baked me a cake. The verb here is baked. It is an action verb, so we will label it AV. We will find the subject, who or what baked. The answer is Rob, which is a proper noun. Next, we go on to find the direct object. Baked what? Well, in this sentence, the answer is cake. Cake is a noun, so we will label it as the DO. Now, the question for the indirect object is a little different. It's going to look a lot like the direct object. Baked to or for whom or what? Now, the to or for is in parentheses because it's implied in the sentence but not directly told to us. So in this sentence, we can answer that with me. Me is a pronoun, so we will box it in orange and label its function as IO. Now let's look at how to diagram with an indirect object. Here's an example sentence. Ted gave his sister a hug. First step in the process is to find the parts of the sentence. We're going to start with our verb, which is gave, and gave is an action verb. Next, we're going to find the subject. Who or what gave? Now, the answer here is Ted, which is a proper noun. Next, we go to the direct object. Gave whom or what? The answer here is hug, because that is what he gave. Hug is a noun, and we're going to label it DO. Now, to find the indirect object, we're going to ask gave to or for whom or what? Here, the answer is sister, because Ted gave a hug to his sister. Sister is a noun, and we're going to label it IO. Now we're going to add parts to the diagram. We're going to start with our horizontal line as always in our vertical subject predicate division. Now we're going to add our direct object to the end like we did before, but our indirect object is going to indirectly dangle from the action verb. Now all we do is fill in our parts of the diagram that match with what we've identified in our sentence. The action verb we said was gave, the subject we said was Ted, the direct object hug, and the indirect object is sister. Well, that's about all for today, guys. So have a great day, and until next time.